Alright, welcome into race number 17 of the WSSR season here. Just like 2 races left in the season, so we're gonna finish them off strong here, hopefully. We're here at Dover, 180 laps. We'll see how this goes for us. Ooh, 14 so far in qualifying. Not bad. Kind of right in the middle there.
For himself, but shockingly, looking at times, it's the 80 of Juju at the poor time, but up to third. Gavin Rogers finds the pace that he always has for qualifying.
Gavin Rogers, definitely the king of qualifying here in the WSSR, as he has got a ton of pulls for himself in 2 seasons, has knocked himself up into the top, competitors for the pole position. So Gavin always expected to do well in the qualifying, and a 3rd place start looks like what he will start with tonight.
Last season's champion, Zach Hall, put the number 1 on that scheme. As he was last season's champion, he had the choice of sticking with 32 or changing his number to the number 1, chose to choose it to the number 1. It did not bring him the luck he was hoping for. Zach's time of going for another championship concluded last week at Las Vegas. Other drivers that were knocked out of the playoffs, Zach Hall, Jarrett Talmadge, Larry Yingling, Nick Crawford, and James Scioli were those drivers that were bounced out of the playoffs after last week's race at Las Vegas. So when you're bounced out, real goal just to continue forward and hope to maybe play a little bit of spoiler with some wins, carry some momentum in the next season. As season 11 should be upon us here in a few months after we conclude this season, and we're excited to see how these drivers might evolve into season 11. But for season 10, qualifying is done, it's in the books, and what a time to be up front. Ryan Kelly continues on his showings of being a quick Dover driver as he'll take the pole here to start off the championship round. The first driver to have an advantage going into this round, as he's got that 1 point over the rest of his competition. But as we are into the warm-ups, gives us time to take a closer picture of how this season has come to this position here at Dover. Here is your standings entering tonight. The drivers in blue are your championship 6, as the rest of the standings is where drivers fell after last week. And Richard, obviously we know these championship 6 drivers are quick, but
it's now
this is going to be a fun 2 races to watch out for.
It's going to be a wild, fun 2 races to watch out for. I mean, like I was saying earlier, both tracks are very similar in shape, different in size and corner banking. So the driver's got a lot to accomplish here still, and it's going to be a lot of action. These are our 6 quickest drivers for the most part. Been the most consistent for sure for drivers like Cedric Hunter and Ryan Kelly, who don't have a win compared to the other 4 in this top 6, but they've been consistent enough. They put themselves in the right position they need to be, and they're up here fighting it out to try and hoist that trophy at the end of Homestead next week.
As Texas Homestead next week. Let's take a look at how the schedule has looked so far to get us to this picture that we got to see of our Championship 6. We started off at Atlanta with Cody Reed winning and starting off the season with a bang. And then we found Drew Jua into victory lane at Pocono. Gavin Rogers, John Forbes, they found their way into victory lane as well. And then we fall down and you can see multiple Gavin Rogers wins, multiple Vincent Sora victories. Drew Jua has won multiple times. They know how to get it done. The question is, can they find that clutch factor in these final 2 races? Richard, due to the fact that it's Dover, in the Monster Mile, this track is so narrow, it's so tough. And seeing the new skin version of this track that iRacing brought out and updated, I'm curious on how these 6 drivers are going to be able to handle the course that, honestly, just one mistake, your race could be done.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Dover also is when a wreck happens, it tends to wash down the track because the straightaways are not flat. They are banked as well. Not as banked as the turns, but still banked. But with that said, there's very little room in this track. It is a very narrow track. You have wall on the outside, wall on the inside, and one spin, one hit, and your race could be done. No longer can you fix all the damage on these cars or even most of the damage on the cars. There is a point where if you take too much damage, they can't fix the car in the pit anymore and your race is done. So playing it safe can help you out a lot in surviving, but you also got to be a little bit aggressive and try to make it to the end of the race as far up as you can and in front of your other competitors as well.
But speaking about making it to the end, here's a few drivers we feel like could be drivers to watch out for at the end of this race and throughout this race. We got our pick'ems, who are drivers we feel like are those to watch out for. And I gotta say, this season has been fun to pick who we think are gonna be drivers to watch out for. Maybe I didn't pick the dominant driver these last 2 times we've been here at Dover, but I'm gonna pick the driver that was second best last time we were here. I'm going with the 88 machine of Drew Jua. Lucky Duck still looking for that first championship in the WSSR. Drew Jua has been looking quick last season. Maybe he could hoist the championship then. Just found some misfortune. This season, though, this 88, he's got a much tougher hole to dig out of as he qualified in the middle of this field. Watch out on his way of driving through the pack. Richard, who do you got to watch out for here tonight?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with my boy Gavin Rogers. He has had a dominant run this entire season, and I think after just falling ever so slightly last season, he's got something to prove, and he wants that trophy at the end of the season. I think Gavin Rogers, starting from 3rd place, can get it done here at Dover.
And our 3rd member of our crew up here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, running productions, it's Robert Moyer Jr., and he's going to go with the fast driver from practice, top of the board, and he's going to try to carry the momentum after last week's win. It's John Forbes Jr. in the 11 machine. Nightmare Fuel swept the round of 11 with Vincent Sora winning at New Hampshire, John Forbes winning last week. Hey, maybe they'll carry on that momentum here into the championship round. As we are concluding warm-ups, we also want to say a quick thank you to GTR Simulators, as well as Trophy Smack and Whiplash SimCams for being our camera provider. You're seeing these incredible shots on stream. And that's a big thank you to Whiplash SimCams, who is also our sponsor of the biggest mover of the race. We continue on getting prepared for this championship run. We know Gavin Rogers is going to be the driver to watch out for, but you brought up the factor of Cedric Hunter, Ryan Kelly, yet to get a win this season. They are the only 2 without a win, and the other competitors, they've got multiple wins, most of them having 2. Gavin Rogers is the only one with 3 wins. We'll see how that factor maybe changes up, or will we see one of those non-winning drivers clutch up and find their speed in the championship round? It's time to find out where these drivers are starting out this evening. 27 have registered for tonight's race. For the first race of the championship round here at Dover, and taking the top of the board, it's going to be the 3 machine of Ryan Kelly, taking his second pole here at Dover and hoping to find his way into a second win at this track after last week's victory. He's got a tough competitor to his outside. That's going to be the part-timer of Seth Knoll in the 57. Behind, though, we find the 75 of Gavin Rogers. Going to be Richard's pick to watch out for here tonight. 4th, we found the 3-time champ of Larry Yingling. Then we've got Robert's pick in 5th place, the 11 and John Forbes Jr. with Jared Talmadge, Cedric Hunter starting 7th, then in 8th it's Douglas Newbigg and Ken Campbell starting 9th, and finishing out the top 10. It's going to be a sweeping row at Storm Motorsports with Andrew Medlin in the 12 machine 10th.
Starting 11th is going to be the 25 of Cody Reed, our season opener winner. With the outside of him is going to be the number 8, Brian McCann. Chris Ditz starting in 13th, the number 17, and Vincent Sora, one of our playoff 6, starting in 14th. Drew, another one of the playoff 6, starting midway in the field in the 15th position, was Tom Sinchek in the 26 on his outside. Starting in 17th, Dakota Moniz in the number 5, and just outside of him is going to be Justin Malarkey starting back in the 18th position. And rounding out the top 20, you're going to have Brian Noel in the 00 starting 19th, and Christopher Norris in the 38 starting back in the 20th position.
Of note for Christopher Norris, he's been accruing too many incident points this season. He hit 7. That means he was given an L2 penalty. That's an end-of-the-line penalty as well as a track through. So watch out for that 38 machine as he heads to the end of the back of the line, and with no stage
all right, Dakota,
break
it's a strong field, but we're expecting you to finish in the top 20.
Finishing out the rest of the group, 21st is going to be Nicholas Renner, 22nd position,
No
going to be the
safety,
98 of
brother.
Ben Kinney, and drivers that are just starting in the back where they feel the most comfortable. We got Ross Tatum, James Scioli, Shane Terry, and
I thought I heard that. I was just
and
confirming.
Zach Hull starting 27th. These drivers are
This is a
ready
rolling
for
start.
racing.
Follow car number
Richard,
88.
Dover's going to always be
No
the tough
stages,
track. You talked about the banking that these drivers are dealing with. It's 24 degrees banking throughout the corners, 9 degrees on the straightaways. What do you think these drivers are main focus in these first couple of laps as we get ready for the longest Dover race that WSSR has ever done of 180 laps here tonight? No stage break, no fast repair, 4 extra sets of tires.
I think the biggest thing these drivers have to understand with no stage break, it is a flat race to the end. There's going to be cautions eventually, but it's not planned. You don't have a specific lap they have to worry about getting to. So right now, I think to start this race off is to find your groove and keep yourself out of trouble, and then worry about strategy when it comes to pitting under green and taking tires, and when you're going to do it and who you're going to be pitting with.
Season 7 when they raced in the ARCA
Okay, Dakota, are you ready?
cars,
Watch for the
a lot
lights.
of cautions. That car was very unstable. But when we've raced in the Gen 7 and the Gen 6 Cup cars, it has been 3 or less cautions. We'll see if tonight we stay with the trend of 3 or less, or will we have a chaotic mess? It's time for the championship round to start. We enter the restart zone, as it will be Ryan Kelly, Seth Knoll, going to be side by side down into turn number 1. The championship round for season 10 is underway. Richard, it's the 3 already trying to be clear off the exit 2.
Ryan Kelly trying to get clear coming out of 2, and it looks like the car just be clear enough, going to move up to the outside. Looks like Gavin Rogers trying to still move up, going to go low, trying to challenge that second position from that of Seth Noel. But doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. They're hitting doors as they come out of 4 as they complete lap 1. They're still side by side going into turn 1.
Not giving up at all.
Still easy here on the outside.
Las Vegas, usually what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but obviously not here tonight. We carry over the beating and banging that Gavin Rogers and Seth Knoll had against one another. They continue to stay side by side for second place. Ryan Kelly, give him 2 bonus points. Lap led, Paul Ward, and more contact with a 75 into Knoll. As now Larry Yingling is setting up to go for 3rd place.
Larry Yingling taking advantage of Gavin Rogers' run on the inside. He's able to clear him, but now Larry Yingling challenging for third from Seth Noel. He is starting to fall just a little bit, but he's not going to be able to clear Seth as Seth goes low and blocks off Larry Yingling's run. And John Forbes now entering the picture next to Larry Yingling as well.
John Forbes bringing out a
Look, everybody's being pretty easy on their tires right now.
Brothers Graphics Company
Oh,
and
he's got sideways as hell there. So the 70 degrees.
Truck Series on Monday night. To see the Helium machine and Cedric Hunter. Cedric Hunter as well as the 3 of Ryan Kelly, both looking for their first win this season. The underdogs entering this championship round. And starting up in some places, a great qualifying run for the 13, who always states qualifying is where he struggles the most. And now it's settle in and look for some good pace. Hey, speaking about pace, there's Gavin Rogers, fastest lap just on flat 5.
Oh, somebody just disappeared.
Putting the fastest lap on the track right now, but that
Now
could
they're
be
back.
a sacrifice of using a little bit more tires than everybody else. He's got to worry about that with no stage break. The long run is where these drivers are going to shine, and that's one place that Cedric Hunter has always shined. Cedric Hunter has always been a long run driver. It's good to see him qualifying up front, so he should be able to use that track position to help that long run pace a little bit better. But Gavin Rogers trying to get up, get in front of Ryan Kelly, get that clean air in first place. That might be his goal right now. Get in front, lead this race in clean air so the car handles a lot better when you don't have anybody in front of you.
And right now, Ryan Kelly knows what this scenario is like. Having pressure behind, but keeping your nose ahead. He led 112 laps of 150 last season. Was the 3 machine of Ryan Kelly. He would love
Somebody's
to do the
smoking
same
him.
scenario
Cody Reed, of course.
tonight, as we look back at some other past winners. of this racing surface. We're right on Moza 7.
Damn, we almost had our stage right there.
A little bit nervous on where he wanted to place this vehicle.
Hey, and it wouldn't have been my fault, okay?
Up to the outside wall, but Vincent Sora's been blinking in and out. They're going to make a quick 3 wide promotion here. And this blip view is showing perfectly the chaos is going on. Cody Reed kind of being a safety valve for this group, holding drivers back, and it really hurt Andrew Medlin the most and Ken Campbell as they fade backwards. 25 trying to defend for this top 10 position in 8th place, but he's had a lot of fast and hungry drivers that want to get by him as soon as possible, and just trying to hold off the intrudes to 25. Vincent Sora's got to be careful as Ken Campbell's setting up for a chance to swap back and forth.
Look, a few laps ago a little bit, Cody Reed got a little loose. I saw some smoke, and that's where
seems like it's going to get loose in the long run.
From that front pack, but Vincent Sora is trying to get around Cody Reed. Cody Reed is being the blocking wall for these drivers from getting up and getting the speed to catch back up to that front pack.
Oh, the 77 haven't though.
Vincent Sora trying to take his
time
here
quicker than I am right now.
because we still have a very long race ahead of us. You don't want to ruin your car this early and lose that fight for that championship. So Vincent Sora playing a little smart, knows it's a long race. He's not trying to force anything that's unnecessary. Just going to wait for Cody Reed to kind of lose some pace and get around him when that happens.
But getting contact and damage is something that these drivers we know are going to grab at some point. And we think this track just naturally narrows up on the exit of both 1 and 2. We're seeing it badly for the 7 and down this moving game. He's been grazing the wall off of turn 2, off of turn 4 for the past 3 laps. It has just been constant contact. And Richard, I mean, these vehicles cannot deal with this constant contact throughout a whole 180 lap run.
No, they definitely can't. That is one of the greatest updates that iRacing did.
Dakota, your window
the
will
cars
open
kind
on
of
lap 81.
what it is building up damage
98.
over time. It used to be, you know, you'd only break a toe
ahead
if you
is
hit hard enough.
car number
But now
8,
if you
and their
hit it
rating is 510.
enough times, then that toe link will break. So you can't just keep hitting that wall coming out of the turns. And that's one thing we're seeing with Douglas Lubig is it seems like he's getting tight, which is not a characteristic of Dover on the corner exit.
Somebody's going to get sideways and lose it for sure eventually.
Seeing him get a little tight, it makes me wonder if he's pushing the exit of these turns really hard, trying to get, you know, to counteract that loose feeling of the cars coming out of the turn.
Speaking about loose, we just saw him there from the 15 of Ken Campbell as he was trying another attempt to get by Cody Reed. Did not work out. Instead, Montior going back down to 12 for a second time.
Still there.
For
You're on the inside.
Campbell, as Campbell, one of the drivers, has really lost the most positions. Same for the 7 of Douglas moving down 6 positions from where they started. Updates for drivers further on back. If you're a Christopher Norris fan, again, he is currently 1 lap down. Reason why he entered tonight with a what we call L2 penalty. That's an
P90. Lap time was 25.30.
Too many incident points throughout the season. And 38 currently 1 lap down, trying his best to not go 2 laps down. With no stage yellow going to be coming out. If you're just joining us, there is no stage. You can go green at the start of this race.
Okay, Dakota, the next car is securely car number 77, and their rating is 6.6. You've just done 24.88.
And winning the race, that's the only way so you can get bonus points for this championship round, and that is going to change so much of the dynamic of how these races used to be ran for these first 16 races of the season. I mean, making that change just in the championship round, so dramatic, Richard, to see for these drivers, such a change in mentality.
Oh, it was a huge change in mentality. Like, you got to come into these last 2 races not thinking of that stage break.
Last lap time was at 25.00.
These cars hard for those first 30 to 50 laps that we've normally seen all season. You have to actually race the conservative race throughout the entire race now. All 180 laps. It's not being split up. You're not having a 50-lap stage followed by a 130-lap race to the end. It's 180 laps under green unless we get a caution from an accident. So these drivers kind of have to shift their mindset a little bit at the start of this race, so they have to save a little more than they're used to versus just run it all out and try to get that stage.
Running it all out, you see that's what the top 2 are doing currently. That's Ryan Kelly, Kevin Rogers. They both have pulled away from 3rd place on that. Right on board Fat Hall currently runs back in 25th position, just kind of watching his competition ahead and analyzing, saving tires, seeing who's overusing their tires. One is trying his best to just salvage a good finish here tonight again.
Someone's gonna overcorrect that shit, I feel like.
Yesterday, on Monday, excuse me, during our ISRC Truck Series broadcast, asked them about this tonight and for the championship round of not being in the championship around. He said, you know what, there's a lot of freedom, knowing that there's not that pressure of running for a championship. I can just go out there and just perform and go for wins, and there's no pressure if I need to have a perfect race. I can just go out there and have some fun. Driver that missed out on last week's race, had obligations that pulled him away from the track, and a chance to run for a championship. Needed to win at New Hampshire, didn't get it done. It's a 77 to change.
Trying not to slide the tires at
Moving
all.
up through the track, currently tied as our biggest mover, at least
Just
at the
done
moment.
it.
But
25,
122.
122.
Good job, slowly marching his way forward. So our 24 now is up into 17th and setting up the basket by Nicholas Wright.
Yeah, set up the pass. He's probably going to get around even the next lap or two, if not the next turn or two. But that is one thing that's kind of beneficial of not being able to advance to the playoffs. Yeah, it's disappointing because you're not playing for that championship anymore, but now you can kind of play the race out to your own entertainment, I guess you could say. You can either just go out there and have some fun, just enjoy being out on the track, or you can go out and test new things. You're not stressed about making it to the next round.
Inside,
you can
bud.
go test different strategies out, see if it works, see if it doesn't, and use it for your next
Still
race
there.
at the track for seasons to come. So it's definitely a lot less stress lifted off the shoulders.
Still
you
there.
go out there and have some fun and not worry about who your competitors are.
That was 25.68. Loads that clear.
Chris Stitz and the 25 of Cody Reed. Reed stays low. Chua makes the pass on the outside. And he now just follow in the tire tracks. The 17 of Stitz. It's Cody Reed. And let's give another round for the 25 and the E15. Who can find their way around one another on this position and pass. As it has been a great time seeing these drivers go back and forth between themselves, as it looks like an emergency pit stop for one of the drivers we were just had on screen, Nicholas Renner, pulling into pit road. There's no official call on why he made this move.
The car in front of us is now car number 00, and their rating is 4.5.
See if there's any update on the reasoning why he just made this emergency call, but just dug low and went to pit road.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looked like going back and looking at it. And he just dug into pit road and called it a night, it seems. So probably had something going on outside of the sim that he has to worry about. So unfortunate to see. It would have been nice to see him, finish a race here in the WSSR, but pulls it in early and calls it a night here at Dover.
So this changes up this
The lap
race.
time was 25.30.
Portion of the replay for the 94 as drivers starting to get a little bit more antsy on track. Again, the battle for the lead still in line is Ryan Kelly and Gavin Rogers. They have been stuck like this since lap 3. It has been Gavin Rogers, Ryan Kelly just staying in line. And I mean, if you're Rogers, this isn't the worst place to be. You're close enough to the leader where you can still see them. You're in a position where if there's a pit road mistake, you can take that spot away. This is beautiful for Gavin Rogers. Yes, you would like to have the lead to have that clean air to maybe salvage your tires a little bit better, but as long as you're this close to the leader, you're still in a great fighting position. The only worry is that you're slowly being caught by the drivers from third on back.
Yeah, that's the one thing. As I was slowly seeing these drivers inch further and further away from that pack behind them, is I was worried about how much tires they were utilizing to do this, and their pace has dropped about a tenth of a second slower than that of Seth Noel, and Seth is slowly catching them. So I fear that they might have used a little bit more resources than they were hoping for, because they've still got quite a bit of ways to go before they need to need two pits.
I'm starting to gaggle up here a little bit.
So interesting to see. They got up there in a heavy lead, but it's slowly starting to diminish with Seth chasing them down.
So that's chasing them down. John Forbes also just about a little bit over 2.5 seconds back from our leader, Ryan Kelly. See that gray 11 machine as
Okay, Dakota, the next car is Shane, car number 9, and their rating is 4.5.
John
Outside.
Forbes, I mean, this has been a resurgence.
Still there.
We always knew that John was going to have the talent to find the
I know you have a storm here. I need to talk to it.
Car
I believe the
outside.
last few laps,
Championship
Hold your line.
involved going forward as
Hold your line.
Ken Campbell, Cody Reed. Still Campbell
there.
can't get by the
Outside.
25. It looks like for Campbell,
Car
he'll lose
outside.
even more positions as behind those drivers. So they
Still there.
really are getting
Clear on the high
racing
side.
back from 17th on back.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing in the back of the field. A lot of
inside.
two-line and three-line racing. We jump back to them right now.
Hold your line.
On the
Clear
outside
on
line.
the
They're all
inside.
going to line up now as we
E23.
jump to them. Go figure. But they were 3 wide, not even a lap or 2 ago. So these guys back here in the field, they are
Struggling.
definitely racing racing hard, showing us a great show back in the field and showing what they can do as well.
And as we go back to see that chaos battling for 20th battle for the lead. We're seeing as well there. Gavin Rogers has completed the pass for first. The 75. Now it's time to see what pace he has and how much he wants to utilize these tires to pull away from the 3 machine, or was Kelly holding back Rogers? Kind of being a little bit of a pace setter for the 75.
Clear outside, car high.
32 laps.
They're right, they have 12 car.
180. Thank you to everyone who's been joining with us so far in tonight's race. We also want to say thank you to GTR Simulators, as well as Trophy Smack.
Hold your line. Hold your line. Clear on the outside. Right.
Kelly
ahead of us
trying his best to hold on, but we go back to the battle that's happening around Cody Reed, 12th place, and it's Douglas Newbegin. How does he get by the 25, and will Ken Campbell finally find a way to get by this 25 machine?
Yeah, Ken Campbell still trying to find, but he's going to follow Douglas Newbegin to the inside here. Finally looks like Cody Reed starting to falter a little bit, letting the drivers by. Douglas still side by side. Ken Campbell fell back a little bit, but going to hope to get the run off the turn.
Some big daggone car there.
Okay, Dakota, the next car is Noel, car number 00. Their rating is
Cody is not wanting to give up this position. He is still racing hard as if it's the last lap of the race, but Douglas trying to get that. It looks like he might be able to clear him on the next turn, but still side by side as they go into turn 3 and 4.
Oh man, Cody just shifted into that car. He did not relinquish this pass just yet. And the 25 and the 7 stays side by side, and I'm worried for Douglas Newbegin. Again, we saw in those first 10 laps how many times he would accidentally go up and brush the outside wall, how much damage was accrued during that. It was just some scrapes that he grabbed on for himself, and we were seeing that tight action before.
Rising. It's now
These tires feeling like 35 laps in. We've already seen quite a drop off, about a second and a half fall off from some of these drivers' fastest laps. These tires are not the same, but they still continue to fight on for 12, and it's building up more and more drivers behind this grouping. And this is when things are very dangerous. Braking zones, attack modes. This is building up a mixture of caution building up in front of us.
Yeah, this is just chaos back here in the field. Back to the 16th position on back, and this is just an accident waiting to happen, it looks like, as nobody is wanting to give up. Everyone is wanting to maintain their position. But yeah, like we were saying, these tires, they wear out a lot faster at tracks like this at Dover because of the concrete surface. Concrete surfaces tear these tires up,
mega frame drops,
and
mega
these
frame
drivers
drops.
look like they are not caring. They, because side-by-side racing, you're wearing the tires a lot more than if you were just single file. But this whole pack is 2x2x2x2. This is racing back here in the 16th on back.
You'd think that we just took a restart with the way that they're racing back here. And this is 12th all the way down to 23rd position. These drivers continue to stay side by side. And finally, Douglas Newbegin gets by Cody Reed. All the fighting and bickering might have finally concluded, or will Cody fight back? As they're 3 wide now, it's going to be Ken Campbell stuck in the middle, Shane tearing on the inside, outside. Ryan McCann, the 8, hoping he's got the space, but they squeeze off the exit. Contact back and forth, and Ken Campbell keeps it straight for now. Now GTR is already more scattering, and we're still green.
Impressive wheel work by all the drivers back here. That was an accident, just waiting for the flag to fly, and it didn't happen. All drivers involved got loose, but able to keep their cars straight and pointed forward. We're still green flag racing.
I mean, my heart goes out for Ken Campbell. That is just a never ending for these first 40 laps of just relentless beating and banging for the 15. Just could never get by Cody Reed, and ultimately trapped, stuck, and now he's back to 24th for himself. The battling still will rage on around that 25 machine, around a 13th and 14th position, but drivers up ahead, seeing some big movements from James Scioli, who started back in 24th position. He's currently going to be our Whiplash Simcam's biggest mover in the first 40 laps of this race, up 14 positions from where he started. And the 77 is making these moves look easy so far for himself as he's caught up to Cedric Hunter and Vincent Sora.
Yeah, James Scioli has been really fast all season. Unfortunate that he was unable to make it into the playoff 6 just because he had to miss one race in the playoffs, and that's all it took was one race. He didn't get the win at New Hampshire, and he knew he had no chance at Las Vegas because he wasn't showing up. So unfortunate to see him not in this final 6 because he is making a showing tonight and doing fantastic as he's now
time was 25.79.
I mean, making a showing for himself. A lot of the guys who were knocked out of that last round are making some great showings. I'm thinking about 5th, 6th position. We got Larry Yingling, who was knocked out. Also, we've got Jared Talmadge, who just missed out by just that of 7 points. And I mean, this 27 has been impressing me on the way that he has performed in the playoffs after getting his win that put him in for this championship berth all the way back at Daytona for race 12. There's only maybe
I hit gas pedal and wanted to go for the wall.
27 has not performed, had the unfortunate circumstance of being caught up in the big one at New Hampshire that really stunted his chance to make the championship.
Car number 25. Their rating is 5.1. Get a car on the high side.
Start of the season to the end.
Yes, he has definitely improved quite a bit, and even be able to compete in the championship or the playoff
21st.
So
that last lap was at 26.00.
Definitely improved all season. It's been great to see. Great to see him getting better each and every race, and being able to run up here in the top 10 at Dover is just a fantastic sight to see.
As Drew Jua now deciding it's his time to make the pass and march his way into the top 5. As the 88 on the outside makes that pass cleanly, easily, and that's the way to watch that pass quickly, efficiently, and it's all in just one corner. You're not wasting time on the outside. You get right back to your momentum and groove where you've been protecting your tires. And Drew Jua now going to be on the deck. The only issue, he's 5 seconds off the battle for the lead, and there are 3 drivers on top of one another. Rogers is trying his best to pull away, but as Ryan Kelly is under fire from Seth Noel, who's right on those tailpipes.
Pedels definitely putting the pressure down on Ryan Kelly, and that's a playoff driver being pressured by a part-timer. So this is kind of the same somewhat situation we had last week from what I saw, and Seth Noel able to get a very nice clean pass from Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly does seem to just let him by. He's got tires to save. He's got positions to maintain. Seth Noel's not really a worry to him, but if he could follow Seth and get back up to Gavin, that could be the position he needs to get the extra points near the end of this race.
And if you're Ryan Kelly, I mean, you got your pull bonus point. You've also grabbed leading a lap bonus point. Leading the most laps could be under threat. Gavin Rogers taking this top position. If you're not three, you're okay with seeing Seth Noel go out there, take the lead the most laps. That takes away a bonus point that another competition driver could have for himself. Rogers currently in the best position to do so. As we're coming up to lap 50. Been a fun one to watch all these drivers going back and forth. Looking at some other drivers that are making big moves. James Scioli, once again, he's on the charge, up 17 positions now for himself. He just got by Larry Yingling and now trying to catch up to Jared Talmadge. Other big movers that have been out on track. Zach Hull up 14 positions, but also this 9 machine is Shane Terrian up 10 spots for himself as he's kind of stalled out around Thompson Check as he was near that 3-wide fiasco of Brian McCann, Ken Campbell, and himself, Shane Terrian, and it kind of caused a blip that should have been a caution, but somehow everyone kept it straight.
Yeah, Shane Terrian able to kind of keep off all the cars that were getting loose, kind of sliding all over the place, and made his way through that group, and he has just been slowly, steadily moving his way up through the field, picking off the cars one at a time. And he's doing a great job tonight. Another driver that, got knocked out of the playoffs as well. He had one heck of a good season for himself.
Go inside, I'll let you have it.
And just trying to show what he can still do, and that he still could have had a chance to be racing for this championship.
Yeah, Shane Terrian injury tonight.
Got a little tight in that turn.
Had 3 top 5 finishes, 8 top 10s, 26.07 chances of getting a win, but just fell shy. And I felt like Arlington could have been the race that changed Shane Terrian's season, have the bonus points that we could have assisted him to get to the round of 11. Didn't happen, got taken out early in that race, and ever since it's kind of been a war of, all right, let's just at least get a win this season. That's what the Nines mentality has been since Dover, all the way back in the middle of the regular season. Thompson Check still being hunted and hounded so far by the 9 machine as they continue to go back and forth with one another. There's a couple of drivers that are making some big moves all around, but I gotta say, Gavin Rogers, he's looking good, but under heavy pressure now by Seth Noel.
Heavy pressure from Seth Noel. Seth has finally caught up to him, and you know, go to try to challenge him for that lead. He is right on his bumper. So Gavin now under pressure from Seth like he was last week as well. So we'll see how long Gavin can maintain the lead, but it looks like he's just going to slide up, let Seth take that inside, and just let him drive on by. Gavin still has tires that he could save, but he's still going to challenge him on the outside. He's going to still maintain that front position.
Trying to maintain and trying to keep ahead as much as possible. 75. That outside lane is going to be where he has to run to
car number
protect,
57
defend
is
as
leading the
well
race.
as he can. But the way that we're seeing these speeds being placed down, Seth Noel just looks like this is ultimately his position to grab. There is just too much pace underneath his 57. Throttles up. How much does Rogers want to fight this position, though? Is he going to think big picture, or is he still feeling the kind of hurt and pain after last week's race at Las Vegas? And Gavin Rogers, loose off the exit, keeps it under control, but it's 75. The way he's throttling up, I think he wants to fight back for this spot.
Yeah, it definitely looks like he wants to fight back. I just don't think he has the tires to do so. Got a little loose after Seth made the pass. So Gavin, he's got to fall back. He's got to take care of those tires because Ryan Kelly is now knocking on his bumper, waiting to pounce as well. So Gavin has got to pay attention to the bigger picture and not worry about the here and now and worry about Seth. He's got to worry about Ryan Kelly, who's closing the gap behind him.
And I'm hoping everyone can hear us as we are aware of internet issues happening. We're hoping that they will just naturally phase through whatever issue is happening at this moment. It's kind of out of our control. We're going to continue to try to broadcast this race as much as we can. As Seth Noel going to be leading this race, Gavin Rogers second, Ryan Kelly third. And driver in fourth, it's going to be John Forbes Jr. He's still about a little bit, about 2 seconds off of third place of Kelly.
Black funnel position, careful. You're random.
Just in front. Three-horse dogfight currently up front. That's James Scioli. I think if he gets a caution, that 77 is going to be a driver to watch out for, as he is still running quick laps and almost running faster than our leaders, lap after lap. As it looks like one driver is entering pit road, it's Zach Hall, as he is having an emergency. He's just speeding right to his box. I don't know what happened to the one, but he is having major mechanical errors for himself.
It's unfortunate.
So
Zach Hall, again, not in the championship 6, got knocked out last season, but still trying to have a nice strong run here at Dover. Sad to see him pulling the pits, having issues having a great run tonight as well. So we'll have to get an update on what's going on with him, but right now, James Scioli still making a good charge up to the front.
Yeah, a shocking position for Zach Hall. He just sprinted right into pit road.
I really thought you could only on one pit stop.
There's an issue that we see
He'll come out a little way behind you.
Hall's race going to be a much tougher position for himself. Also in the pit road going to be Vincent Sora, as he's going to get service now done. 61 laps in, and I mean, this might be a zone. We weren't given the fuel number for these drivers, but Richard, I mean, sometimes Dover, with the way that the drivers have been aggressive, sometimes it's not a fuel race, it's more of a tire race. Can your tires survive as more drivers enter pit road? Shane Terry and Ryan Noel, as well as going to be seeing Christopher Norris still out on track, but joining the other drivers has been getting service done for the 98. As we wait for the rest of the field to make the decision of, is it pit road stops now or later?
Yeah, that's a track like Dover. It is kind of a question on that. Is is it a fuel race or is it a tire race? And Dover is one of those tracks that's short enough to where fuel, you can go a very long time on fuel, but tires are the things you have to worry about. If you don't take care of those tires, the car gets really unstable and really difficult to drive. So that might be one thing these drivers are trying to pay attention to more. Because, I mean, it's a massive time difference from fresh tires versus old tires. We'll see once these drivers with the new tires coming out, we'll see their lap times and see what kind of differences they're having.
Well, looking at some of the drivers in the mid-pack, they're already about 2 seconds off of their fastest time here. Seth Noel could be about 1.8
behind his pitting.
His
The lap time was 96,
so
3.5.
if you enter pit road early, you're getting that massive jump over and going to be able to pass drivers. But the issue is that this is one of those scary positions during a race, with there being about 2 seconds difference, the closing rate of entering, exiting the corner. It is dangerous how quickly you can catch up on the driver if you're not aware of what's in front of you.
I'm pitting right here.
Closing in.
That's the biggest difference. Like, you have drivers that are going 2 seconds faster a lap than you if you're on lower tires. So The difference in braking zone, the different acceleration coming out, this is what can cause a caution. It's the difference in the tires. It's not necessarily the driver getting loose because they can't handle the car. It's just the closing gap.
Strategies is quitting from P17. Should be a little bit behind when he comes out.
This is where a caution can happen.
15th place.
So you can get caught on pit road, or you can get caught a couple laps down, or a lap down from making your green flag pit stop, and that can completely ruin your run.
Oh, speaking of ruining your run, I think it just happened. A blown tire for the 17 Chris Stitz as he now enters pit road. And that's going to be something of us keeping our eye on of drivers, what are their tires looking like, because you can get a red damage flag that forces you into pit road. Looking for Jared Talmadge, he locked up the brakes instantly the tire so much that he got a blown tire while going into pit road for himself. We also got an update on the one machine at Zach Hall. Just put it in the chat. Pedals disconnected.
Hold that line.
Oh, that is a frustrating mechanical error to have. It's
clear inside.
It's one of those things where you
car inside. Okay, to come to the next car is Ross. Car number 21.
Yeah, that's one thing is different from sim
around me,
racing, racing in real life. Is that the cars in real life, they break. You know, we don't have that here in iRacing, so our mechanical failures aren't the car, but it's our own sim rigs, our pedals, our steering wheel, our screens, our computer itself. So that is our form of mechanical failures. And Gavin Rogers getting a little loose there. Looks like he got a little bit of bump from John Forbes. As the old tires, he's up into the wall. These tires are starting to show their age. Is it time for Gavin to come in and get some fresh shoes? We'll find out.
Where did John Forbes come from? It looks like more of a fallback was the case for the 75, which has been his issue for really the last half of this season. Is tire saving on how well can he save for the leader run. We're getting reports some of the drivers already pitted. They're down to 0. Some at 6% left on wear. That is crazy wear and tear these drivers are feeling right now. On top of seeing this racing action of those gating the run, those that have protected their tires, they're being rewarded greatly. As Gavin Rogers, one of the first that are inside of our top 10 to enter pit road. 75 has to get service done, but Richard, what the
not turning,
pit entry. This is one of the most dangerous pit entries to get into of all the racetracks that we're going to be seeing here this season.
It is a very narrow, tight entry coming out of 4, so a lot of the drivers have to get down going into turn 3, and that's a flatter part of the track, so they have to slow down immensely in order to get that car slowed down and controlled. So getting into pit road is not the easiest thing here at Dover, but yeah, like we're also seeing, the drivers that are taking care of their tires were surging forward near the end of the runs here, and Gavin Rogers, who's just flying at the beginning of this race, putting down fast laps and leading and jumping out as far as he did, he's starting to feel the pain of those tires going away, and I think that's the biggest difference on trying to save or just be fast.
And you saw there the 15 extremely slow, blew the tire right as he was passing pit entry, had to go an extra lap around with no right front. Major losses in front of him on top of all the other woes he's been dealing with. Another driver with a blown tire going to be GT Rizari as he has to go another full lap around. And when you blow a tire, I mean, your vehicle doesn't completely fall apart like in real life racing, where if you blow a tire, that thing is shooting directly to the outside wall. But it obviously the handling is so terrible. You have to slow down so much just to get around the corners. As GT's got to be careful. He misses pit entry. He's got to go around another lap for the 14.
Oh, and he cannot miss any more pit entries because a meatball flag here in iRacing, if you go too many laps, it will disqualify you. It is a required flag for a reason. So he has got to go slower to make sure he gets himself into these pits. But not like we were talking about these tires. That's the sense of blowing a tire here in iRacing. It doesn't physically look like it's still locking the tires up, still trying to keep it off the track, get down to the pits. It does look like he might be able to get down to the pits this time, so he'll be able to get service done. But he has lost a lot of time, and that's going to truly hurt his run for tonight.
Next driver on note that's trying to make it into pit road is going to be Larry England, and he does get into pit entry, luckily for the 67, but up front, it's still
okay to
going to be
the next car is 2
laps
behind.
Kelly just about under a second, and with all the passing that's going on, it's influenced some of our leaders on the way that they've been hitting their laps, and Ryan Kelly, even within a second of our leader, this is big props for Kelly, who was really falling off the pace there late. He's going to be able to recover from a lot of lost time, and he's got to be careful with these older tires on what are they searching for, because but we've already seen drivers that had to pit at lap 60 because how worn up and torn up their tires were. We're coming up to lap 80. If they somehow can skate away to get a lap 90, that would be impressive and try to split this race into a one-stop. But the way we're seeing the pace of tires, a two-stop seems like the better option to go.
All right,
Yeah,
75 laps.
A
Spit out now.
one-stop really working out properly because, like we saw Seth Noel, his top car is getting really tight and it's pushing the car up the track, especially when people challenge him underneath him. So
We got a car on your inside.
Sacrificing
Clear
damage
low.
on his car, he's sacrificing tire and long run pace because these other drivers are still running faster laps than
Yeah, that'd
him
be
by,
crazy.
almost 2 seconds still. So it's an interesting strategy to try to make it to 90, but I do not see that actually happening with these drivers trying to push it.
How far are you willing to go as we still wait for
Car
our top
inside.
11 drivers to enter
Clear
pit
low.
road, and also Christopher Norris, who runs 18th place. Over half of the field is currently finding themselves being one lap down. If a
Car ahead
caution
is
flag
one lap
were to
behind.
come out, this could really change the factor of this race as Seth Noel trying his best to just put lap after lap
Reeling
down. Ryan
Ross
Kelly
in. The gap
now with
is
a 3/10 with the
0.36.
drop off in pace by the 57 machine. Kelly is right there. The only issue for Kelly, he can't stay on track. He's blinking too much. You got to be careful by this 3 machine because if you have too many internet issues, iRacing has been trying to implement a internet phasing out system. We're still trying to figure out and see when that will happen. I haven't seen it yet in a race, but if you have too poor of internet connection, iRacing is
car number
working on
3
a system
is
to
now
just
in the
rip
lead.
you off the
Car
track.
inside.
That could be very hurtful for Ryan Kelly, who
Hold
was
your line.
just on the back bumper and putting the pressure
side's clear.
on Seth Noel here as pass for the lead is now underway as 4th place runner of Juju us, James Scally in 3rd. They just wait and see as GT Rizari is putting the pressure and pushing the 3 on by Seth Noel.
Yeah, Seth Noel is getting passed by that of GTRs. All right, but Ryan Kelly.
Kenny,
made
go
the
low
pass
on
for
me.
the
You
lead.
got
These
your,
two have been
pressure
out
tires.
the same amount of time, and they are fighting for this win. They're just who's going to bite first and who's going to go to the pits. But it looks like Ryan Kelly did a better job of saving the tires as Seth is starting to fall back. But you can see
I wasn't
these
gonna
tires
fight.
are
I wasn't
getting
gonna fight
tighter
you
the
for
longer
it. My
they run.
tires are
He's still
starting
there.
to go down.
Running back and forth.
You're on the low side, going 3 wide.
As Kelly defends
outside.
for now.
Clear outside.
Just looking at other drivers that still need to hit pit road. Cedric Hunter back to
Car
5th place,
low.
still needs to go to pit
Rather
road.
high.
Douglas Newman
Clear inside.
6 needs to pit with Justin Malarkey, Tom Sinchek, Brian McCann, as well as
All right, Dakota, the pit window is now open with a car
I'm
outside.
pitting,
Expect
watch
trouble
out,
when you
I'm
come out.
pitting.
A few seconds ahead
Those
of
are the 11
Andrew. Hold
drivers
your line.
that continue to
Clear
stay
outside.
out. They've been out there on course for 83 laps, and I mean,
We can
kudos
bring
on
them right
them
front, to
to
be
be able to
honest with
stretch their tires out
The
this
next
long.
car
It's
is
Drew
McCann,
Jua's
car
now just
number
going to give him
8.
required
Their rating
damage
is
flag, blown tire
5.0.
for himself. He has to go into pit road now, but I mean, to be able to stretch your tires out 20 laps plus over some of the other competition that blew their tire at lap 60 for
We're all
some.
thinking,
This is
man, caution
impressive
would be
by the
nice.
top 11 to beat it
P9.
this
You're
far.
reeling. McCann
Yeah,
in.
it's
The
impressive
gap's
work by
now
the-
0.37.
We have a slight difference also for the next leader of the race because all these drivers are going to pit very soon. I mean, Vincent Sora and St. Terrian will be coming out P1, P2 after these pit cycles end. With
outside.
Gavin Rogers back into the 3rd position. So for these
Still there.
drivers, 85, 84
Outside's clear.
laps
Ross,
on these
pitting
sets
from
of
position
tires, that is
10. We think
impressive
you'll come
to
out just
see.
behind you.
Cannot
Ross,
believe
behind
they
is
have
pitting
not gotten
inside.
a meatball flag for a
Clear on the
blown tire.
inside.
And it's going to be that right front. It's what we've been talking about also. That right front is the tires taking most of the load trying to turn these cars. So
Car
a
high.
great job by these guys saving the
Let's stay
tires
on
and
the
saving
side.
these resources to make these tires last and trying attempt for that one-stop race. And it'll be interesting to see if that actually pays off dividends.
Ross Tatum now is going to be the
73
driver
pits
line
left.
9 and continue to stay out on track as Drew Jua was able to make it that far. And Drew Jua, more issues, strikes the 88. Black flag, unsafe pit exit. He has to do a drive-through again through
Car
pit road.
Oh, that is not
We are
a
clear
thing
up high.
you want to see when you are in the playoff 6. Any kind of mistake or penalty
Okay, here.
ruins a race for you almost. The only
Okay,
thing that he
Dakota,
can hope
the next
for
car
now
is a
is
lap
a
behind.
hopeful yellow
7th
flag
position.
to save his race. So unfortunate to see because that'll put him not only a lap down,
Car
but
ahead
probably
is
2 laps
Sinchak.
down.
Car number
And you
26.
don't want to see
Their
that
rating
chasing
is
championship.
4.0.
Absolutely not. And 88 continues to stay out on on track. We'll see how long he wants to. It looks like he's actually going to make the pit stop
38
now.
today this time.
So attempted to just at least get one decent lap
Oh,
in.
sorry, Ken. I thought you were going to clear me there on that tree. I'll be trying to take bottom.
Set the well, going to be passed once again. Now going to be falling down to third as James Scioli is now moved into second position. As we're seeing the 5 machine.
Gap to 8th place. Behind is increasing. It's now
If some of these drivers
1.05.
can stretch their tires out to that halfway zone, I mean, this would be so impressive to see. Lap 91 is the window you're looking for. And then you want to see if you can that, and you'd feel a lot more comfortable at the end of this race. But the mentality of safe tires, I mean, this is a whole 180 lap mentality that you have to keep in your
Take it
mind.
inside.
The guy in front is
not a
behind.
short run mentality. You can't look at the short game. You can't look at, I got to pass cars now. It's, hey, I've got 180 laps to run. I've got to make it to lap 90, 91 before I pit. So it's looking at the big picture, looking at that long run and making the decisions in the race and the adjustments you need to make to keep those tires as happy as possible. So these guys are doing a great job putting on one heck of a class for the rest of the field to look at. But, I mean, the only thing that can really be a detriment to these guys would be a caution. It would help them out also, but it's going to help the majority of the field out, especially if the caution happens with these guys going to pits and finally get some new shoes on their cars.
Ryan McCann has a blown tire. He's forced to pit road, and drivers are giving
That's half distance.
30.
Laps of fuel remaining. All right, Dakota. Lap times are pretty
You get a
consistent.
couple of warnings before you know it. I'm within 15 to 20 laps. So these drivers, everyone that's still out there, that is your top 7 currently, have made it to the halfway zone. This is exactly where they needed to be. Now, if you want, you can pit.
He's entering the pits. He's in P7. We should come out a little way behind you.
Car inside. This go around. Here shortly, as Gavin Rogers and co. use up your tires, make these passes quickly, as they still, for Rogers and everyone else that's already pitted, they're still 1 lap down. They have yet to fully lap themselves under green light conditions, but they are closing up to Kelly and Scioli here quickly.
Midlane speed limit is 35 miles per hour. We'll fuel you to the end of the race.
So
You'll be coming out into traffic. When we exit the pits, we'll be at
drivers
a few
when
seconds
they were
behind.
lap down. So they're doing a good job. They're finally getting their laps back. So if the caution comes out, they're the beneficiaries of that caution. But the drivers now that have been out for 93 laps now, they've been out for over half of the race on these sets of tires. That is insane to see, but it is getting close now. These drivers have to think about coming in and getting new tires soon because there's no way that those tires can last much longer.
Seth Noel going to be now making his stop to get service done as well for Dakota Moniz. And Tom Sinchek sadly behind his pit stop, caught speeding on pit road, so he's got to do another drive-through for the car behind. Take care, rejoin him. That's a 40-second hold actually for the 28 machine. That's even worse, I would say, than having to do the drive-through. And now we'll see how these drivers continue on with these runs. As Cedric Hunter now enters pit road. It's Ryan Kelly, James Scioli.
Car high, clear high. The next car is Kane, car number 28, and their rating is 0.8.
Give it to the 11 of Sean Forbes, who is making his charge. He's found a way to get by Gavin Rogers, Vincent Sora, Jared Tolman, and having fresher tires than those. This 11 is looking poised to go back-to-back winner of last week in Las Vegas and wants to start the change around on the right foot as he continues to get by, and this is the pass that's so necessary and needed. Forbes is back on the lead lap.
Forbes taking the lead away from Ryan Kelly, but Gavin Rogers still trying to make his charge up there as well.
Looks like he'll come out
Gavin
just
might
behind
be
you.
learning a little something, trying to save his tires for a longer run. We'll see, but Seth Noel back out on track, making his presence known and working his way back up through the field. So now the big question is, these drivers that have hit, that have been out for 96, 97 laps, how long are they going to be able to stay out there, and what's the difference going to be when they get back on the track? Are they going to just run the tires down until they until they're just gone, or are they going to try to save tires as well for the last run again? So the difference in pace is huge, because once the drivers that pit for the two pit stop strategy, when they get new tires later in this run, they're going to be exceptionally faster than those that are going for the long run as well.
And with this pit cycle almost concluded, Ryan Kelly's now the last driver to stay out, and he's about to be started. He had started lap 99. This is impressive by the
The
three
gap to
machine.
P21
If he gets
behind
the
is
lap
increasing.
run,
It's now
incredible
1.53.
for himself.
Last lap time was
Show no signs that he wrote his
25.02.
phone for himself. That means for Ryan Kelly, he's now stretched out these tires without showing any signs of a blown tire. 40 laps further than some of those had hit only back at lap 60. This is incredible by the three machine, and this is why he was been the dominator. He led the most laps the last two times we've been here at Dover. And he, honestly, if you look at the stats, he should have been our favorite driver to watch out for tonight. As again, last season he led 112 of 150 laps, got the win here tonight. And he wants to do the thing that has never happened with WSSR at Dover. That's grab the pole, lead the most laps, and win the race. Right now, the 3 is looking good. Over 100 laps into this race.
Yeah, I think the downside about this, though, he's done a fantastic job with 100 laps on these set of tires at Dover. That is impressive work, and like you said, he's the favorite to be winning here, honestly, based on stats. So the biggest thing he's going to have to worry about is when he does come to pit, he will more than likely go down 2 laps. That is a huge mountain to climb when you think about it like that. So we'll have to see. We'll have to keep an eye on him after he makes his pits to see how much speed he has when he comes back out. But I think being that he's run these 100 laps, he's going to be able to run a lot harder. It looks like he's diving down to the apron. He's making his pit stop after 102 laps on these tires here at Dover.
Here's the thing, he should be, if he doesn't make any mistakes here, he's going to still only be 1 lap down to John Forbes. Because the fact that Forbes had never caught him, he was about 17 seconds back by the time that this 3 machine went into pit road. So he will be able to salvage time to make minimal mistakes. His 3 is going to be a great spot because every lap back this 3 machine, once he gets these fresh tires on and starts running, it's going to be about a second and a half faster than John Forbes, who is already 1.2 seconds off his fastest lap for the 11 machine. He's been out there for 30 laps and there's already over a second fall off.
Same for Gavin Rogers. Gavin Rogers is a second and a half slower than his fastest lap as well. So, I mean, you can tell the tires are getting older, and it's a 30-lap difference on them as well. So, I don't know if they're, trying to save more tires. But Ryan Kelly done with his pit stop, and he's back going. That will put him back to the 13th position currently, maybe a little bit further. But he is still, that's going to be a huge speed difference for him. It's going to be, like you said, about a second faster than the rest of the field.
And Gavin Rogers just passed him. He just went a lap down while on the apron and leaving pit road. So he's going to be within distance to get back on the lead lap. So even if there was a caution, Ryan Kelly is currently in the lucky dog position for the 3 machine. So he's in a great spot. And the numbers, it's a waiting game. When do you make your next pit stop? When do you hit pit road? Well, we will give you all the answers, as this has been a fantastic race. 103 laps Ryan Kelly took those tires. And how far can the rest of the field take theirs? We know majority of the field still has 1 more pit stop to go. We'll come back, and we've got more pit stops. Who gets penalized? Who survives? We'll find out. The first race of the championship round at Dover. It's been a blast so far, as we'll be back giving you more WSSR Cup Series Season 10 action when we come back after this, as we go side by side coverage for you.
Car high. Clear outside.
Let this guy through. You're reeling P19 in. The gap is 4.8 seconds. That was a 25.00.
This race is going caution free, to be honest with you. Pretty impressive.
lap time was 25.00. You're reeling, car number 73 in. The gap's now 3.6 seconds.
Car high.
You've just done 25.18.
Your high side's clear.
That was 25.19. Okay, Dakota, the next car is Campbell, car number 15, and their rating is 4.7. You're reeling, Campbell in. The gap is now 1.45. That was 26.00. The gap to P7 behind is now 1.91, one lap in front. The gap to P19 ahead is now 1.32.
Car high. Still there. You are clear outside.
Allow this guy to pass.
Car high. Hold your line. Hold your line. Clear outside.
Let this guy through. P19.
Car low. Hold your line.
Okay.
Your inside's clear.
It's the World Series of Sim Racing. You're on Freaky Fast.
Andrew is pitting from position 17. He should come out just in front of you. P18.
High side. Still there. Still there. Clear up high. Car outside. Hold your line.
The guy in front is car number 73. Their rating is 2.2.
Clear high.
P17. That lap was a 25.86.
Outside.
V16.
Outside is clear.
Allow this guy to pass.
I'm gonna put this time by. Therefore.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. After that commercial break, I know we were talking during that commercial break, trying to figure out what is going on. We're aware of internet issues that are happening on the broadcast. We're going to keep on trying to give you the coverage of the first race of the championship round of 2 races. All 6 contenders that made it to the championship round all started out equal. Basically say 0 points. Whoever could come out of these races tonight at Dover next week at Homestead. Whoever's got the most points after these 2 races will be able to hoist the Season 10 championship for this WSSR Cup Series. It's been a pleasure to give you the call so far here at Dover. 123 laps, so we might be jinxing it, but Richard, pit road has been calling for some. But we've been clean and green since the start of this race. No stage break was given out as for this championship round. There's no stage points, there are no stage breaks, so we have stayed clean and green. And we've seen the field have a couple of blip moments of, oh my goodness, it should be a wreck, but so far, this has been incredible racing to see here this evening.
Yeah, it has been a fantastic race to watch, even with different strategy calls with like drivers like Ryan Kelly, who drove 103 laps on tires at Dover, which is unheard of. So a lot of different strategy calls. We've had, like I said, a few little mishaps that could have easily been a caution, but the drivers did fantastic keeping the car straight and keeping us under green. But we saw Vincent Sora ducking down in the pit lane. It sounds like it seems to be pit is calling on some of these drivers again for their final pit stops of this race. As we were under 60 or 54 laps to go of this race. So
I'm
getting
pitting
down
here.
to crunch time and strategy, and who's going to be able to pit, take tires, and get their way back up through the field.
Down in the nitty-gritty, a couple of drivers forced the pit road.
Car number 73 in front is now 0.82.
Black flag with an orange circle in the middle.
Okay, Dakota, as a car exiting the pit, heads up.
To go to pit road within 3 laps to get service done. A lot of drivers have been getting
inside.
it.
The car in front of us is car number 14. Their rating is 4.3.
Car inside.
V12. Where they have
Still
to go
there.
pit road
Car inside.
because their
Inside
tire is
clear.
I didn't see him.
Taking a look here, these are your live points. Now, this is not accounting for pole points or if you win, but live points currently, it's Gavin seeing the fact that we're just notified pole points are given out.
Still
Kevin
there.
Rogers, based off where they run currently, would be your driver of note with the points lead currently with John Forbes second, Ryan Kelly third, Cedric Hunter fourth, with Drew Jua going to be fifth in points, and Vincent Sora, crazy to see the driver that's going for a
car number 14 in the gap is 0.36.
We got a car outside.
I saved 9.
Still there.
We are still in the middle
on the outside, on the high side.
As drivers that are going for the
Hold your time.
still are going to have to make a stop here. Most
down low,
likely the
wide.
next 10
You are
to
clear
15
high.
laps to get that service done. For Ryan Kelly,
Carlo.
he is in a prime position to watch out for,
Still
but
there.
also in the
Clear on the low
chaos
side.
as the 3
Driver in front of
looks
us
the
is
best
car
on
number
tires. As
73.
Shane
Their
Terry gets
rating is
contact, but Ken
2.2.
Campbell, the 9, trying to keep it under control. No caution flag is out.
The guy in front
What a
is 1 lap
save!
behind.
But man, the frustration for the 9 machine in that moment as we continue to stay green is, Richard, I don't know if we can stay clean and green with how diverse all the drivers' tires are. This is going to be a chaotic final 50 laps of this race.
Yeah, it is going to get chaotic for sure in the last 50 laps. And Shane Terrian again getting caught almost in another situation, but doing a great job wheeling that car and keeping it straight. And on a controller at that. That's another thing we like to talk about Shane Terrian, the only controller driver in the field. So fantastic work by him, keeping this race under green. You hate being the driver that ruins strategies by an accidental caution. Though it wouldn't have been his fault, but still kept it straight, keeps it green, and he's still back running and chasing down Ken Campbell.
Chase down Ken Campbell as best as he can. Vincent Sora, who was one of the first takers for his second stop of the night, he's going to be pushing forward for the 15. That's kind of why he was down as far as he was. Here's a replay of one of the scenarios that just happened for Shane Terrian, as I believe this might be a little bit too far back. We'll we'll see a lap or so, as it's going to be close to seeing the 9, trying to figure out a way to get through this incident. But there's Ken Campbell, who just leaves out of pit road. It's going to be through this corner where the 15 just drifts up, flips the 9. It looks like a little bit of net code, but even if there wasn't, an incredible save by the 9 machine there.
Fishtailed a little bit, trying to get it back under control, but yeah, like we were saying, great work by Shane Terry in keeping that car under the best control he could. Kept it straight, keeps the race under green flag, and this allows the strategy to still play out for a lot of these drivers. So, I mean, you're having drivers, Gavin Rogers, John Forbes, still out there on 60-lap tires, and still getting chased down by James Scioli and Ryan Kelly, who have half the distance on their tires. So, I think John Forbes and Gavin are trying to push these tires as long as they can to have a faster pace later in the run. So I think that's what their strategy is, to try to get back up through, but they can't wait too long because it will take them probably close to 15 to 20 laps to get back through the field. So it's a matter of when that crossover is and when they decide to come in and get some fresh tires.
Dakota Moniz hasn't shown up for a lot of
73 in front is now 0.86.
First top 10 of the season. And if his cards line up with the amount of drivers that are going to have to make a pit stop, who knows, this 5 could be in a position to maybe steal a top 5 finish. As we still have plenty of drivers up front that need to make a pit stop before this race is over. One of those, I should say 2 of those, are top 2. John Forbes Jr., Gavin Rogers, they are getting a 2-stop strategy call, but they are about to be under threat by the 3 machine.
I'm going in a second. I'm going to take back on you.
Back from those top 2. And they got to be careful, as well as going to be James Scioli, who pitted, I would say, a lap sooner than I would like, but the 77 also in a position where he can try to stretch out his fuel and tires to the end of this thing. So the 77 and the 3, they're just closing in on our top 2 that still have to pit. That's got to be a frustrating feeling. But if they don't pit soon, that 11 and 75, they will not have enough time to make a rebound to get these positions back.
I completely agree with you, Sam. They have to figure out when is the best time for the crossover to happen, because the tires do fall off quite quickly. So, I mean, they were falling off after about 20 laps. They were losing that second and a half off their pace. So it's definitely an interesting call. The 2-stop looks like it's probably the better idea, the better strategy for the drivers, as they were able to make it. But Gavin Rogers and John Forbes, they can still pull this off and make a crazy
Sorry, they're in turn 1 there.
But we'll have to see what happens, as I'm sure they're about to pull in here with the next.
There's a car on your inside.
Tires.
Saw a driver.
Both sides is clear.
Didn't realize the closing rate was that much.
Clear on the inside.
Making second pit stop of the evening, right on board with Gavin Rogers, as he's seen in front of him. It looks like getting reports in the area that Clutchy trying to save his way to stretch this out as far as he can go. But again, the big worry isn't really the fuel, I would say. It's more of the tires. How are these tires going to hold up for the 75? Or is it a net, just hope for a net gain situation? And I mean, the way that this run is going, Richard, even if you try to save the fuel, you're going to lose a lot of time, your competition behind you, on having fresher tires. I know for the 11 of John Forbes, he's going to be putting as much pressure to continue to fight for, but this is bizarre to see the fact that they are trying their best to save fuel, save tires, stretch as far as they can go, and that would mean they would have to go further than what Ryan Kelly did on his tires.
Yeah, I don't think that is going to work out to their advantage very well. That's going to put them 10 laps further than Ryan Kelly did about. And, I mean, Gavin Rogers, he's only a little under 3 seconds ahead of James Scioli. And it's a strange strategy to try and save fuel now, but James Scioli, he's going to be one that probably has to he's going to be able to make it alive. But he's running so slow compared to those that are trying to chase him down. So I don't know if that's the right call for him to be making. I think go ahead and pitting. He should have pit probably 5 or 10 laps earlier, get the fresh tires and get that pace up to catch the drivers back up. But we'll have to see. Maybe there's something that they're hoping for that might happen. Maybe they're hoping for a caution. But a very interesting strategy coming in from Gavin, trying to clutch and save fuel.
If you're just joining us
okay,
now,
that's good consistency. Keep it up.
We've got a couple of drivers that have officially called it a night. Now, they've been in pit road for most of this race, but no caution flags have been thrown. We've had 4 lead changes here tonight. We've been clean and green all the way through. A couple of drivers that are out of this race: Nicholas Renner, Zach Hall, Tom Simchek, and Christopher Norris. 4 drivers are officially out of this race. 23 still out on track. and only 7 are on the lead lap.
The gap to P8 ahead is increasing. It's now
a couple of drivers
114.
I'm nervous about how far they can stretch their tires out for. Seth Noel going to be one of those drivers who runs 5th. Douglas Newbigin in 6th. They're most likely going to have to pit once again as well for the drivers.
Car ahead is
Justin
1 lap behind.
Dakota Moniz, they're going to be close. The way their tires look on how aggressively they've been pushing on this run. We do know for sure John Forbes, Gavin Rogers, they're backing off their pace. But how much of these tires are going to be left for them to take it all the way to the end of this run, as Gavin Rogers has just been caught and passed by James Scioli, as Vincent Sora, who pitted earlier, he took the decision to go with the 2-stop strategy. He's
The lap time was 25.76.
The 51, I don't know if there's going to be enough drivers that have to pit that he can get these positions back.
Yeah, it's definitely a rough situation to be in. And Gavin, he lost his position to James Scioli, and Ryan Kelly is knocking on his door as well. So Ryan Kelly is trying to make a pass.
Sorry about that, Brian. Didn't know if you can run the bottom
because
now.
of Rogers' fuel-saving strategy with holding the clutch in the turns. So he's losing quite a bit of speed and quite a bit of pace because of this strategy. And Ryan Kelly's going to look at passing him here in the next turn as he goes low to try to get around Gavin Rogers.
Rogers really can't do anything about it. He just has to watch that pass be made. Over a 30-lap difference, it just shows how much better tires are and how impactful they are here at Dover. As for Gavin Rogers, now the question I think looms for the 75 of he's kind of made his bet, he's got to lay it in, but is there a point where you just say, I have to just pit and see what I can salvage out of this run? Or do you just keep falling, Richard? Because I got a feeling he's going to lose another 5, maybe 4, potentially even more positions as this run continues on.
I think at this point he's kind of made his bet. There is no pit now strategy. I think the two pit strategy for him is out the window. Now it's just trying to get fuel or save fuel and see how far he can stay through the field. As he pits now, he's going to get passed by a ton of vehicles and go a lap or 2 down, especially since he's behind the leader. So he might be able to pick up a spot, maybe 2 later in this race, but I mean, with John Forbes, who doesn't seem like he's saving fuel, he's probably going to have to either run out of fuel or pit later.
That lap time was
I mean, at this point, he's just made his bed. He's just got to ride around and hope for a caution to salvage this run.
Top 3 within a second and a half of one another. John Forbes Jr., James Scioli, Ryan Kelly.
The gap to
give the
8th
advantage
place.
to the 3
Ahead is
machine
now
because he's got the fresher tires
0.56.
of this trio. But if you've been burning off too much of the tires, maybe a little bit over aggressive. We talked about how this is a mental game more than anything at Dover of keeping your mentality of save tires, not to overcook them once you got fresh rubber.
The gap's now
Ryan Kelly
0.69.
found a way to salvage these tires. We're really good at James Scioli, who's been our biggest mover for all of tonight. The 77 started tonight's race only back in 24th position. And now on the cusp of taking the lead spot, or Willie, with Kelly pounding on him. We're about to see these 3 drivers right on top of one another as the pass for the lead's about to be made.
Clear outside.
Pass for the lead, getting ready to happen. James Scioli looking forward to John Forbes' bumper. He's got the pace, he's got the fresher tires. Now he just needs the patience to make the pass cleanly. Any mistake could ruin this run for Scioli and give Ryan Kelly a chance to catch back up and make the pass for the lead. So Scioli taking his time, looking for the opening to make the pass on Forbes, knowing he's got better tires.
On your low side.
He's just being patient and waiting for that.
Clear inside.
Take a chance and pounce on it. And just like that, James Scioli is on the back bumper. John Forbes going to be lingering to the outside groove, trying to pinch and defend as bestly as he can with these laps clicking away. Less than 30 laps to go. And it's going to be James Scioli, Ryan Kelly, John
last lap
Forbes
time was at
find the better strategy call for themselves. Or could it be someone further back that maybe finds some sneaky speed if these drivers make a mistake?
That's how I get around this
Scioli,
guy.
first chance to really dive down low to the inside. You're going to see the grip level difference. He's already clear. Throttle up. Scioli to the point as he tries to pull away from Ryan Kelly and John Forbes.
That is the difference that 24 lap difference tires makes, as John Forbes just can't do anything.
You're gonna hate me for that, but I
makes the
actually was
pass
plowing trying to
nice,
get out your
clean,
way.
doesn't come out of the turn
I'll
side
let
by
you buy up
side, is
here.
able to clear the pass in 1 turn, and now he is staying in the lead. But Ryan Kelly now up to the bumper of John Forbes, has closed that gap. He's going to look to try to make the pass just as clean to get around Forbes and chase down Scioli. Ryan Kelly has been the dominant driver so far tonight. Trouble in the back behind you.
Gavin Rogers set the well. They continue to have their bicker and battles back and forth. Contact off the exit of turn 4. And the 51, you see him as the one on screen, making contact with the 75 of Gavin Rogers, and they just cannot find a way to not be involved with each other. It looks like for Noel, pit road is calling for himself, and that could be the race for himself on trying to get a good finish.
Yeah, just an unfortunate situation there. It kind of looked like Gavin Rogers got tight coming out of the turn, got up into Seth. Again, all the drivers keeping it nice and straight, not causing a caution, but Seth the well hard into the inside wall, and I think that's why he had to pick.
Noel, Carmen's got to get 0-0. Their rating is 4.5.
62 lap
We're on the inside.
If he gets tires, damage fixing, gets back out there on course. Trying to salvage something, or just call it a night. I know there's been a couple of drivers where they've just called it a night when there just really wasn't anything they felt like they could salvage after either getting a black flag or too much damage. But Gavin Rogers, he continues to fight on. The best thing for Rogers is that he had a big enough gap due to the fact that other drivers so far behind him that even with this mistake, he still runs fourth.
Malarkey got away from us.
A good finish here tonight if he can save the tires and the fuel. But with the way that he's tightening up off the exit of the corner, that's a major sign to me. This 75 is going to be very close on tires. Closing in on 20 laps to go here tonight. On Nick Rogers can stretch it to the end. If Rogers can, there's a couple of drivers behind that would love to take those positions away. Douglas Newbegin in 5th, Cedric Hunter in 6th. Some of the closest battling that's happening on track, though, is back for 8th place. For Chris Ditz, Justin Malarkey are the closest, as well as back for 7th for 18th.
This is exactly what we need.
Race close to one another. The leaders are the other close drivers, but there's pretty good spacing between Scioli and Kelly.
Blew my right rear in the first run, and now I got no right front in the second run.
Throughout the field also, but yeah, like we were saying, Gavin Rogers,
I always
he has
forget how
got
much
to figure
track
out something because Douglas Newbegin and Cedric Hunter, they don't have to save. They can drive as fast and hard as they want for the most part, which allows them to be able to catch up to Gavin Rogers, and Gavin still has
my right
to
front's
save
down.
fuel. He still has to run 10 laps longer than Ryan Kelly did to the end of this race.
I got one of those on first run.
He's kind of in just
right
no man's land, hoping he can keep that pace. And
I don't get why we had the track at a 130-something track now. Which I'm sorry, car is not turning for anything. I just pooped myself.
Well, to try to find any way to get by this 14 machine. Currently, for Brian Noel, the first driver ahead of him is about 2 seconds ahead. And you also were going to have 12th place, but Gavin Rogers,
that was a bad time
trouble,
talking about
tire issues, he blew a tire.
Gavin.
Pit road is forced for the 75.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm a wrecking ball right now. Car is driving horrible.
Like he's able to. Drifts up on the track, almost gets into Douglas Newbegin there.
At the beginning of the run too. I don't get it.
Averted. Gavin required to pit and get tires. That is not what he wanted to see, and that is not what he was hoping for. And now he is at the mercy of a hopeful caution in order to salvage what this
Zero
one could have
percent
been.
right front.
Trying to be the tire wizard just like Ryan Kelly. Instead, it's not going to be the case. The 3 machine who got the pole let a lap start this race off.
What's up, bud?
Trying to lead the most laps here tonight. The 3 is in a
rethinking
prime
this whole
position
no
to enter
competition
into
caution?
next week as your points leader. So look at your
Outside.
bottom line. These are the
break them out. I
points
will
on the
find out
way
where you
you're
live
looking
and
at most
fucking
points that
hang
are
you by
given
the
out
tree
so
in your
far.
front lawn.
Pull award, lead a lap, and right now, this is one of those moments where if you're Ryan Kelly, you're loving this, but you saw the movement right there. Gavin Rogers is falling on the points battle, and he could be down to 6th place in points when he was up in our top 3, and that is a tough pill to swallow. The fact that you just could not strip the tires out, you took the gamble, and you were not rewarded.
One of those Brian Noel.
Sometimes taking the gamble is never the right call to do, but that's why it's a gamble. I think the smarter decision would have been to pit and just go ahead and take the gamble or the strategy of the 2 pit.
To be Kern County.
But from 3rd back to 5th or 6th in points, he's got to have a stronger run at Homestead next week if something doesn't go his way the rest of the
know that we ran any green flag laps in that race.
To go, going to be 14 as James Skyoli crosses the line. The 76
Alright,
3, the
well,
battle is on, and the tires are starting to equal out. We're less than a half a second between the 77 and the 3. This is the battle for the lead. Most likely both drivers can make it to the end on tires, but if you've been pushing too hard, we've seen tires blow in a range of 60 laps of green flag racing to 80 laps to 90 laps. The 3 of Ryan Kelly has got the freshest tires, but he's been out there for 64 laps. James Skyoli's been out there for 71. I mean, Richard, based on what we've seen, if you push these tires just a little bit too much on just one lap, that throws away any chance of making it to the end of the race.
What the fuck am I doing?
Like you said, if you push it just one lap, it can completely shift 2 to 3 laps of difference of how long you can run. So these drivers, it depends. The question is how hard have they been running this entire stint? 72 laps, 66 laps. John Ford's behind them. He's on 96 laps on his tires. But these two, this is the race for the win.
I thought he was going to go a little fast in the corner. I just gave up after
the second. Get that dreaded meatball flag for a flat tire before that white flag comes out. We'll see. Maybe these drivers are giving it everything while also trying to save it all to make it to the end.
Yeah, save it all. But we have to look at past races. How has Dover finished? If you looked at the Gen 7, the Gen 6 Cup cars, it has been 3 or less cautions per race. The only time we have a major red cautions come out was back in season 7 where they had 15 cautions be thrown. But during that caution-filled race, that was the only time they went to overtime. They've been finishing these races inside of regulation. When it's a low caution count, it looks like we are poised to do so, but you always know a late caution blossoming, that's been the way recently for the WSSR. These final few laps, anything could really shift and change the running. There's a couple of close battles I'm going to watch out for. There's battling going on for 9th place. There's battling going on for 11th and 12th position as well for 16th. But the battle for the lead is also one of the closer ones. Can Skyoli and Kelly play nice, or does Kelly force it all to go for a win with 9 laps to go here at Dover?
Kelly has been slowly gaining time on Skyoli. He's down to 3 to 4 to 3 tenths, while second behind him each and every lap. He was 7 to 8 tenths, so he's slowly gaining on him. The matter is just, does he have time to catch him with less than 10 laps to go? They are starting to catch lap traffic again, so this might slow Skyoli up a little bit if he can't get around smooth. But this race for the win is definitely coming down to the last lap pass, I feel. But we'll see if Ryan Kelly can pick up this pace and not worry about that black flag tire issue.
Looking at drivers that are in a danger zone with their tires, there's about 6 drivers of note. Can they make it to the end? You got your top 2 that feel pretty comfortable as long as they protect their tires. And having a lap car in between yourself and your competition helps. With Brian McCann going to the outside, letting Kelly drive on by. But it's going to be your top about 4 that I'm concerned about. You've got James Skyoli, Ryan Kelly, John Forbes, and Forbes just pressed over 100 laps on his tires. Douglas Newbiggin's been out there for 82 laps on his tires. Cedric Hunter for 79. They're going to try to stretch their tires out as far as they can go. Top 5, but if they pressure and push too much, we know that required damage flag for a blown tire is something to watch. We're keeping our eyes on the required damage flag if it ever pops up. With 6 laps to go, Skyoli has done everything right to keep this 3 behind him.
He has done it all right, and he has had the fastest pace. 23 spots gained from the start of this race. Skyoli is about to show he's the new king of Dover if he can keep this up. Ryan Kelly might have led the most laps, but Skyoli has had to come up from the back to get to this position, and he's done a wonderful job getting his car to the front and passing these lap cars very smoothly, and he's trying to maintain for the last 5 laps of this race.
Ryan Kelly going to get by Cody Reed cleanly if he keeps some pretty good momentum. It's now going to be 3 tenths between these 2 drivers with 4 laps to go each lap. It's been Ryan Kelly just keeping it just getting closer and closer by a couple of hundredths of a tenth of a second to the likes of Skyoli, but Skyoli's just had enough tires to hold off. Kelly ships it though, he hits the wall. Kelly is using everything. Also trouble for one of our championship contenders. Drew Jua required damage for the 88 as Kelly, that might have been the last gasp in those tires, or was it? Because Skyoli runs high.
Skyler running high after Ryan Kelly ran high to gain Ryan Kelly some time, but these tires are slowly drifting away from them. Can they make them last the last 3 laps while trying to race each other? They're both really high. They're both getting the run off the turn. Kelly able to get a little bit better run, going to close that gap a little bit as they get ready to dive into turn 2 with 2 laps to go.
Drew Juaka with a black flag earlier on in the race. He's currently 2 laps down, about to be 3 laps down because our top 2 drivers with 2 laps to go are on top of each other. It's James Scioli, Ryan Kelly, the what-ifs for Scioli, the championship hopes for Ryan Kelly, and off the exit of turn 4, it's time to look up to the air. We kept it green all the way through. No caution, but the battle for the lead is on. Ryan Kelly's going to duck down low, side by side off the exit of the corner. Scioli's going to have the slight advantage. They keep each other pinched off the exit. Scioli grazing for a quick moment. It's now down to Scioli for one more lap, one more corner,
John, I
and
don't know
he
how the hell you
defends
have
over
the
Ryan
fuel there to
Kelly.
make it finish.
Scioli wins, but Ryan Kelly has the advantage into Homestead.
Yeah, I was worried of saving that whole run, and then everybody was going right front, so I literally
into
was
that
running
race.
10%
Ryan Kelly tried shipping it into turn 1. They got side by side, but Scioli able to keep Ryan Kelly down, affecting his run off the turn. Scioli with the run out of the turn and is able to maintain, making these tires last 83 and 77 laps. John Forbes 107 laps as they go 1, 2, 3 for your top 3 tonight's race.
An incredible finish. And it is awesome to see the strategy calls that were made. Was it the 2
I still love how
tire
this
stop?
league
Was
could
the
go
one
from
stop?
a wreck
Was
fest
it the one
at
stop,
like
2
any
stop?
given race,
The one
and
stop
then we'll just go to like the most
taking
wreck filled
over
track.
the
We won't have any
top 5
cautions at all.
positions. Jared Talmadge leads those that went with the 2 stops here
I don't know.
tonight.
It
As
could
he'll
just be
finish in
also
6th
kind of
with
right
Chris
for
at
Riley.
7th.
Too
But
hard.
man, what a
Usually
change up of
it's
who's going to be
harder
the
to
top
drive
drivers to watch out
like
for
the
next week at Homestead.
But,
It is looking good for Ryan Kelly. It's not an absolute, but does he have the
You're
most
saying we need
comfortable
harder
feeling
retry
heading into
instead of
that race? And
I agree.
Richard, this was one of those races.
I would love harder setups.
Worked hard for that one, so I will take
It's
it.
crank the tempo up to 130 every race, and we got it. I think the only reason the tempo's that high is just because
was the longest Dover race that it's ever been ran, and we went caution-free here tonight.
Next week, so.
Yeah, fantastic race. No cautions at Dover is wild to see. I know this field is very well known about having a very clean Dover race in these next-gen cars, but nonetheless, no cautions, even though there should have